my friend Gage is gonna talk to you. Oh, and John Clark, he'll be there, oh, too. Even though they're not close together, they're far away. There, one's in Tampa, the other one's in LA. Oh, Gage, what's the show called again?
Fucking, it's Almost Adults. Shit.
Almost adult. Shit.
My pop filter is a little...
Oh, you smacked it?
Yes.
Oh, man.
I have the worst setup for this pop filter. My desk is just barely, is like almost too big, but not big enough.
Right.
It doesn't clamp properly.
See, I have a problem with my desk as well. I got this thing from IKEA. And like the draw of the desk was, I think you've seen it. It's kind of like an artist's easel. You can angle it. But the problem is that it can go super high and I can angle it pretty well so I can get good movements when I draw and stuff like that. But the problem is then it completely angles all my monitors as well. So it always, my monitors are facing downwards, I guess. I don't know how to
No, yeah, they're angled. Don't you have like a flat surface at the top of your desk?
No, actually, no, it's entirely angled. And that's the thing. I wish that if I found some sort of extra addition that I could just put on that was a flat surface and have the monitors on that, and then the desk itself for my keyboard, my pencils, whatever the heck I was drawing with that day, then I would do that. But no such luck so far.
Interesting backstory about this desk. I didn't have a desk when I moved in here. I was looking for one, and someone on the FSU in LA page was like, hey, we have a desk for sale. And I'm like, oh, I'll take that, because it was only like $100 or something. And I went to the guy's house, and I'm like, yeah, I really like this desk. It would be great for writing. And he was like, oh, yeah, I'm a writer too. And I'm like, oh, yeah, you're a writer. And I'm like, okay.
Okay.
I'm usually...
You just shut him down?
No, this was in my mind.
Oh, gotcha, okay.
So I was like, yeah. And I'm like, yeah, dude, what do you write? And not like that. And he's like, oh, yeah, I write for the Netflix series Narcos, and I also wrote for Hannibal. And I'm like, oh, man, I need to hang out with you more.
Yes.
And...
networking to the max.
And he's like, yeah, we'll get some coffee or sometime.
Situations like those are always really, really tricky and awkward because it's one of those people that you kind of admire what they do so much that you immediately just want to become best friends with them. And so you come off super strong immediately, like trying to get them to hang out all the time and just really force that whole friendship really quickly, and it ends up backfiring all the time, super, super hard. I've run into that a lot. Mostly with girls, but
you're like, I really admire your position in the hip area.
Yeah,
and I would like to explore that a little bit more with you.
Exactly. I'd like to see a bit more of that every single day of my life. And you know, by the time I'm already super invested in their life, they can't pull away. That's how I get women, anyways.
I'm actually a little bit different when it comes to, because I don't want to say I run into people like all the time out here, but it happens probably more than if I was in Florida or something.
Right. By the way, you should say where you are, in fact.
Oh, welcome to the podcast.
Welcome to the podcast. Please introduce yourself.
My name is Gage Agnew.
My name is Jean-Claude Gage, and where are you, Gage?
I am in Los Angeles, California at the moment, otherwise known as LA. And where are you, Jean-Claude?
I'm in my bedroom in Tampa, Florida. Now I'm going to give you my full address so you can come to my house and get an autograph from me.
There's actually lots of candles around and lots of incest. So...
Incest?
Incense. Incense, that's right.
Yeah, so, okay, what were we talking about? You said that you meet a lot of people. You don't want to say you meet a lot of people in California, but you do.
Right. I meet, I'll just say more people than I would if I was in another state, because this is a central area for artists and stuff.
Right.
And if, I really admire their work, then it's a lot easier to talk to them. I'm like, oh, yeah, I watch Game Grumps occasionally, and I like Ninja Sex Party, and people are more than willing to talk about their own work, and they're like, there's something interesting about that. And,
right.
I never feel like I'm pandering maybe a little bit. I never feel like I'm pandering if I ask them to, like, if I could pick their brain, because, like, I'm genuinely interested.
Yeah, see, that's my whole entire view with, I actually, a while back when I was doing research at the Alzheimer Research Institute at USF. And the guy I was working for was trying to, like, work with a sabbatical with this great researcher in Switzerland, or something like that. And he was talking to me about this email that he was sending him, and he said, I really admire this guy's work, and I want to make that come across in this email that I talked to him because I really want to work with him, and I want to show him how interested I am, but I don't want it to come across as brown-nosing. What we kind of came up with is that it's not necessarily brown-nosing if you fully mean it. If you are genuinely interested in the other person's work, then you just like what they do, and you like them as a person, so you're not pandering or brown-nosing, you're genuinely interested, so.
Let me just say, you're such a doctor and a scientist with this sort of thing.
What do you mean?
You analyze the situation like front to back. You're like, all right, we came to the conclusion that if you do not brown-nose, then you are genuine, and if one is genuine, then they are not a brown-nose.
Yes.
You're so scientific with it.
Oh my god, Socrates is a man, blah, 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 that whole thing, the inductive reasoning.
Steve Martin, like, that was some of his early forms of comedy, doing, like, psychology. Like, if, I can't remember the specific example, but it was something along the lines of, big babies are delicious. Crocodiles like delicious things. Thus crocodiles eat big babies.
Oh my god. That's how Steve Martin started his comedy?
Yeah, he just read psychology books. That's sort of how he got into stand-up.
That's wild.
And yeah, so comedy can come from the most unexpected places.
Oh, comedy's, I mean, every person has their own different sense of that kind of thing. And you have people that, you know, just tell stories for their comedy, or you have people like Dimitri Martin, who's just kind of like one-liners and things like that.
Nothing wrong with that. It's just different style of comedy. Dimitri Martin, if you want to come on the podcast, you're more than welcome to.
Hi, I'm Dimitri Martin. I'm going to play some guitar for you guys and tell you some jokes. I actually, when he came out with that first kind of, I don't know how long ago it was, but it was that YouTube video of him in his pajamas, and it was his comedy session. He was in his pajamas, he had a guitar, and he would just play softly guitar as he just did his Dimitri Martin thing. And I envied him so much. I wanted to do that. I was like, that is such a brilliant idea. That's how I want to do comedy. And I didn't know how to play guitar, so it didn't work out.
You know how to play piano, though.
That's true. But I think I would come off as imitating him too much, and that wouldn't necessarily come across well.
The interesting thing about comedy is, actually all forms of art, nothing is entirely original. It goes back to, like, you can go back and say Dimitri Martin, for example, like, oh, he's like, the Smother Brothers. And the Smother Brothers are sort of like,
I've never heard of the Smother Brothers.
I hope I'm pronouncing their names right.
I mean, I assume, how else do you spell the Smoother Brothers?
Smoother Brothers?
But what do they do?
They ran a cable show, and they launched Steve Martin into, Relativity. By the way, I know this thing about Steve Martin because I read his bio, I almost said biopic.
His biography?
Memoir.
Yeah.
Memoir. About, it's called Born Standing Up, and it's just his stand-up career. And it's really interesting because Steve Martin is a fantastic writer.
Really?
Yes, when he was writing The Jerk, he didn't know how to write a screenplay. So what he did was just wrote one joke per page, and he just went from there.
It's insane.
And it's one of the funniest movies I've ever seen.
See, the only Steve Martin film that comes to my mind, unfortunately, and I know I've seen other movies of him, but all that comes to mind is Cheaper by the Dozen. Cheaper by the Dozen. I don't know why that's the only one that comes to mind, but I just think of Steve Martin and that's what it is. And they had a second one, right?
Cheaper by the Dozen 2, Eugene Levy Boogaloo.
So this past Christmas, I got this awesome red sweater. And
only you would start off a sentence was like, I got awesome red sweater.
Okay, well, I mean, like, A, my favorite color is red, and B, it was just a comfy ass sweater.
That's my favorite color too.
Yeah, high five. I don't know how we do that. So
we high five because we're in the exact same place.
Yes. So I got this awesome red sweater, and I did the kind of thing where sweater or one of those article of clothing, it's kind of like jeans where you can wear them back to back to back. In my case, anyways. And so today came the day where I haven't worn it since Christmas. I want to clarify with that, but today came the day where I first washed it. And
Right. For those listening, today is January 23rd.
So about a month has passed since I received the sweater, and I finally took the plunge and we tried washing it today. It's shrunk like crazy.
Oh no.
Yeah.
That's why I'm afraid to wash my sweater, because, I got it not this last Christmas, but the Christmas before, and I have yet to wash it. It stinks so badly.
Yeah,
it is such a comfortable sweater.
It really is, and the thing with the sweater, you can trap in a lot of stank with it. So like, if the clothes, I don't know, for some reason the dryer in my apartment doesn't really dry things always completely, so they kind of come out smelling a little bit funky. So if that's the case, and I still want to wear that shirt for the day, I just, put a sweater on and it just traps in all that stank. I don't know, it's the method that works.
People are going to be like, geez, I wonder what podcast topics John, Claude, and Gage are talking about. Sweaters!
Sweaters, now they trap in the stank.
Sweaters and Steve Martin.
That's how we can start this podcast, dude. Coming up on today's podcast, sweaters, can they keep in your stank?
Stank, I love it.
Yeah. So, anyways, I lost a good sweater today, and
I'm December 2015 to January 2016.
Anyways, so that's the death of that. I don't even know what we were talking about before that.
I don't know. It's weird because we had like a stream of consciousness going on. We were talking about like brown nosing, and we were talking about Steve Martin, and then we were talking about comedy, and we're terrible at staying on just one topic.
Right. I mean, I think that's the case with everything, though. I mean, that's the good thing with, you look at Game Grumps, and
right.
if they start off with some sort of topic at the beginning or something that they started with last time, and then they just go off on a tangent, and it just leads them into weird areas. And that's, I guess, how you get to the core of funny stuff. I don't know.
Yeah, and I'll don't worry, I'll edit out the bullshit. But not this part, because
this is important to address.
I want to be transparent.
Because, yeah, exactly. I mean, this isn't scripted, so there's going to be some crap always in here.
Yes, John Claude, it is not
scripted. Gage, what did you write here? This is the worst Word document I've ever seen.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry you can't spell out. You can't read my Word document.
That's true. Your chicken scratch Word.
You know what I love doing? I love, like, mispronouncing words when people say it to me. And they're like, how did you mess that up? You're not reading it. I did a test pilot with some people I met on the Sleepycast.
Really?
Subreddit. Yeah. We did just, like, a quick pilot. Mm-hmm. And we might be doing another podcast. I'm sorry, I'm cheating on you, John Claude.
Oh, dude, don't worry about it. That's okay.
My buddy Travis was like, I got this game called Guitar Hero, and I'm like, tell me more about this Guitar Hero.
Oh God, yes.
And he got so pissed at me.
Why?
He's like, how did you mispronounce it? Not pissed, but annoyed.
Like the Family Guy joke with the wheat thins, that whole scenario.
Sure, if you want to reference Family Guy in this podcast.
Yeah, you can edit that out. Yeah.
You can bring it down, dude.
Yeah, no.
Hey, it's your podcast just as big as mine.
This is some highbrow humor that we're talking about here. Why? But wait, he got the new one then. That's what he's talking about?
No, he was talking about like his life story and how he, I shouldn't say life story, just his backstory with,
I like how this man's backstory primarily involved Guitar Hero. That's cool.
Yeah, like Guitar Hero and weed, but
gotcha.
And
gotcha. Weed Tar Hero.
Tar Hero, and that's how he became a musician.
They're good people.
Yeah. I don't know. Whenever you meet someone on the subreddit, they're usually like really kiss-assy to the people involved, or they're just trying to be different.
Right. Check out my YouTube video; it's hilarious. Blah, 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 blah.
Check out. I animated this for a whole day.
Yeah, I know. Those are the best.
John Claude, you have a perception on this because you animate.
Yeah, I guess I do. So
don't play coy. Don't play coy. You make really good animations.
Thank you. What is my perception on this thing that we're talking about, though?
Oh, I was just saying that, like, what goes on in an animation process.
Yeah, and I understand how difficult those people are. I mean, because I'm sure that they want to be as well known as people like Chris O'Neill, Stamper, and all that kind of thing. And getting out in the open on the internet, especially with something like animation right now where it's kind of super saturated, is difficult. So using a subreddit is definitely okay. So I don't judge them too hard, but put some effort into those things.
No, I don't judge them too hard. I'm mainly judging people based on their personality, you know what I'm saying? No, actually, I'm judging them based off their trying to be so different that they're not who they are, and they try to be, for lack of better word, an edgelord.
What is an edgelord? What is that? No,
an edgelord is someone who tries to be like super edgy and super different all the time.
Oh, gotcha. That they just kind of renounce anything that's the mainstream just so they can seem like...
Exactly. Like someone who's like, oh yeah, I've never watched Dragon Ball Z. I usually watch Yu-Gi-Oh! I know that's not the right choice, but it's my choice, and don't you dare tell me I'm different.
Oh my god. I can understand that. I mean, Yu-Gi-Oh! Is the shit, so... Actually, we should discuss. I assume we're allowed to use profanities on these kind of things, right? Or no? Should we stop that?
No, don't you dare. Yeah, of course,
okay.
Of course.
Okay, all right, that's fine. I don't think that we're going to be using them too often, but I think when they feel appropriate. Yeah. Speaking of Dragon Ball Z, I met this girl recently who is...
You can tell what kind of women you are in the market for when you're like, speaking of Dragon Ball Z.
Speaking of Dragon Ball Z, I met this girl. It's not entirely, I mean, the basis of it, the friendship or whatever the hell it is, isn't based in Dragon Ball Z. I'll preface it with that. But we were driving in the car and the discussion came up of, did you watch Dragon Ball Z when you were younger?
I did not. I watched Pokemon because I'm an edgelord.
You're an edgelord. Well, that's okay. Okay, well, I can describe this. I think I can. So, there was this character. There was the Saiyan arc where Goku fights Vegeta. Then there's like the Frieza arc where Goku fights Frieza. And then following that, there's the Cell arc where there's this insectoid-like guy that just kind of sucks people in through his tail. And he gets stronger because of that. So we had this discussion on how Cell, he drinks people through his tail, and after he finishes drinking people, to get stronger, he has to start absorbing these people called androids. Well, androids. He has to start absorbing androids, who are technically his brother and sister. Anyway,
androids are people too.
Right. It's super convoluted. But the way he does that, he doesn't drink them anymore because they're robots. He has to eat them. He can't just suck out their human goo. So his tail, which looks surprisingly like a penis, it's, I don't know if I can send you a link. I'll send you a link later. But take my word for it, it's like a big green...
That's going to be the thumbnail for this. His tail.
His penis tail. But...
Just an arrow pointing to it looked like a penis.
Yeah, it looks like a penis. But imagine like a big green penis with a yellow funnel head, like the head of a penis. The head of it, the tip, kind of opens up like a big old funnel and then just swallows things. I'm not screwing with you right now. This is what happens. He has to find these androids.
All right.
Open up his penis tail and then just eat them through his butt. And we just talked about the absurdity of, where do you have to go in your mind to come up with something like that? Those
are usually the best and actually most, I don't want to say relatable, but they're easy to talk to people. When people are they draw messed up stuff, you're like, oh, hey, you draw porn of, cartoon characters. And they're like, yeah, but I do that as a pastime and that's what I like. They're usually super normal like that.
Oh, I believe it. I mean, I don't know. I don't know anybody personally that does that, but I can imagine it would be something like Superbad, where he's drawing these weird octopus penises. I don't know why it always revolves back to penises, but
a penis.
He seemed like a cool guy. What was that actor's name? Who's the guy in Moneyball? The fat guy.
Brad Pitt, Jonah Hill.
Jonah Hill. Is Jonah Hill Superbad, right? He's the kid that...
Yes.
Okay.
He's Superbad.
He's Superbad. Him and Michael Cera. That's right. I can't believe it.
No, just
Jonah
him.
Hill.
He's the Superbad.
He plays both of them. He is the Superbad.
Yeah, he lost a lot of weight and they just did a split screen for that.
Gotcha. It's like, Damn it, I'm trying to come up with all these references that I don't know the name for. It's the movie with Lindsay Lohan where she's twins.
Parent Trap.
Parent Trap, yes. Okay.
Why do I know this shit?
It's okay. I mean, you're the other half. I can't think of the name, so I'm glad you're here. Otherwise,
Oh, cool.
I would just be lost. Yeah. So that was a car ride. It was interesting, and it was.
That was a lot of build up for just like, it's interesting. We talked about it and we thought, it's interesting.
I'm sorry. I thought I
Thanks
had
for wasting 5 minutes of your precious time.
I thought it was very important that our audience knew how I described Cell's appendage.
I mean, that part was interesting, but the actual interaction wasn't.
Yeah.
It was just like, oh, it's interesting.
God, I mean, it's one of those things where you think you have this great moment with a girl and you try and describe it to a friend, and it was nothing. You guys just got ice cream. That was it.
Oh, real quick, but before we get like too off topic of like edgelords, I just want to say one thing. I don't know if I told you this story. There was a meetup in a Walmart for JonTron because he was promoting Battlefront game.
Oh yeah, he had a video out for that.
And yes, there wasn't a lot of people in line because he did it sort of last minute, I think. And I was just talking to these people in line, and they're like, oh yeah, I do this and this, and we were having like a nice conversation. As soon as JonTron came out, they just ditched me and like went to kiss his ass. It was...
What? Wait, so you were there?
I was there, yes.
Oh man. How did that go down? How did you figure out that JonTron was going to be at this Walmart?
I just saw his Twitter and I'm like, I'm not doing anything tomorrow.
That's amazing.
Yeah, but like, that's not the point of the story.
That's not amazing that they went and go kiss his ass.
Yeah, and yeah, they kicked his ass. They beat the shit out of him.
Yo, JonTron, I got some beef with you.
And I'm like, please stop.
Please, I love him. That's super
He's
sad.
He's my hero. Yeah, like, I don't want to separate, like, JonTron fans from everyone else. But, like, you know, just some people on the internet get overly attached. And it's just be a decent human being.
Right.
And just, like, be nice to people, and
see,
yeah.
The problem with those kind of people is that no matter how nice they are, they come off as if they have ulterior motives, even to the person that they're being nice to. I assume that JonTron could just tell these people, maybe they're just trying to be nice to me, maybe I'll include them in a video, blah, 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 blah. I don't know.
He did actually include them in the Walmart video that he did.
Oh, he did?
One of them was in it. Yeah, it's weird. I don't want to keep referencing Sleepy Cabin, but the episode he was on, they told, like, stories about people just grabbing him off the street and being like, are you JonTron? And he handles it very coolly. He's like, oh, yeah, I am. How are you?
That's awesome.
I can't imagine what that's like. I would be like, stop being rude, dude.
Oh my gosh. I mean, people aren't necessarily straight up rude when they're like, I guess,
no.
Yeah, if they pull you up the side of the street and try and stop everything you're doing, but I guess that's fame. Even
that's fame,
especially internet fame, where people have very little boundaries.
Yeah, that's sort of the problem with internet fame. People build up these delusions about like, oh, I hear this person every day or every week. They're probably my best friend.
Yeah,
and it's when they actually meet them, they know everything about them, and
right.
The internet person doesn't know anything about the other guy.
There's kind of this separation. So with television and movie actors, there's always this kind of no matter you can never feel the intimacy that you really know this actor. But with something like internet, where the fandom can be really niche audience, niche. Okay, where the audience can be really niche. Yeah, I mean, I'll accept that. Anyways, so JonTron can have this fan base that's really niche, and within that, these people feel like they're really connected with him, just like you said. And then they go up and they try and meet him, and they're like, I know everything about your life. So I just repeated everything you said, but...
No. People are... I want to hear your voice, dude.
Yeah.
If people are curious how I handled that interaction, I basically just went up to them after those guys were done. By the way, they're done, and they went back in the line to, like, meet him again.
Really?
Yeah. And
hey, it's us again. We just saw you 5 minutes ago.
I actually almost did that because I'll get to that part of the story. But I saw him. I'm like, hey, I'm Gage, and he's like, hey, I'm John, and I'm like, and there's this other person. I felt really bad for her. because those guys were completely ignoring her and just talking to JonTron, and she was like a Minecraft Let's Player or something, which like, that's not my thing, but like, she was there.
Yeah. I mean, give her, I assume since she's there with JonTron and there are, I would like to think that JonTron treats his fellow Let's Players or peers in that respect with the same level. Like, he doesn't think that he's better than them, but I don't know.
By the way, if I know we've like talked for 5 minutes about JonTron, and it seems like everything we're saying is kind of contradicting what we're sort of acting like. We're just like, oh, people don't respect JonTron enough, and we're like, let's talk about him for 5 minutes.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
But like, I'm trying to make a point here.
Okay. Continue your story.
Okay, yeah. Sorry, I'll get off this thing.
You're good.
Yeah, and I just told him and the other girl, I believe her name was Stacy. We had a nice conversation about cats. Because I have a cat here that, like, headbutts me at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, that's adorable.
No, not when you're really tired.
Oh,
no.
Okay.
But, like, out of context, yes, super adorable. And I'm just like, hey, like, thank you for doing what you do. And thank you both for doing what you do. And thank you for making, like, content that makes people happy. And they're like, yeah, right on. Yeah. And
that's awesome.
And we just had like a chat. By the way, I'm not trying to be braggy or boastful about this. I'm trying to make a point.
Yeah, okay. Just get to your point then.
He was really nice. He's like, I talked to him mainly, about him, my brother Holt, who really likes him. And he's like, oh yeah, that's great. I'll sign something for him and you can bring it back to him. And I'm like, oh, thanks. And he's like, do you want to take a picture with me? And I'm like, yeah, you're cool. And he was like super nice and super genuine about it. But my point is, treat people like humans. Treat it as if you met a stranger, even though you know everything about them.
Right. I try to tell myself that if I ever met some sort of celebrity, mainly either Emma Stone or any female celebrity that I have a crush on, that I would kind of treat.
Is she dating Andrew Garfield again?
I don't know, man. I don't know what the deal is.
Who the heck cares?
I don't. I tell myself I don't care.
I tell myself I don't care.
That's never going to happen. Anyways,
never say never, dude.
That's true.
You're going to be a handsome animated doctor.
Oh my god!
In like a year.
Oh my god! And then, hey, I'm a Stone. I'm a doctor. Da 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 da.
I'm a doctor.
So I tell myself that when I meet these people, if I do meet these people, I would act just how I normally would. Someone like JonTron or any internet celebrity in that sense, like we talked about, that kind of has that niche audience. I feel like I could walk up to them and be like, "Yo, bro, my friends and I, we're gonna go like down to Steak and Shake, or we're gonna go get some spaghetti or something like that. You want to get some food? It's our treat, man." And like, if I was JonTron, I'd be like, "Yo, you know what? These guys seem all right. They don't seem like they're gonna kill me. Here's some spaghetti."
Spaghetti.
Which, as an internet celebrity, I would be afraid that my fandom might try and kill me. So, I don't know. It seems like a thing.
I think it's safe to say he has the worst fans ever.
Really?
No, that's not fair. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I'm isolating a lot of our audience, by the way.
JonTron, if you're listening, which you're not, your fandom sucks.
Just his subreddit, like, it makes me cringe so badly. I can't think of any specific examples, but I'm like, oh, these people, that and the Game Grumps subreddit, even the Sleepycast subreddit too. Maybe I just have a problem with Reddit. I don't know.
I've never been on Reddit, so I don't really even know. I assume it's some sort of forum thingy.
Yeah, it's people post stuff, and they're like, hey, this is the JonTron GIF I made.
Oh.
Or something like that. And, like, it could be a hub for creativity. Like, I met, like, the people from my other podcast, Dylan and, Travis on there. And, like, I'm very glad I met them. And I also met my friend Becca on the Game Grumps subreddit.
Nice.
And, we're, like, really good friends. But, like, that's sort of the exception to the rule. Oh, one real quick thing, going back to what you said. I don't mean to keep name-dropping, man.
Yo, name drop away, please. It'll give us some authority in this podcast world.
I was talking to MatPat the other day. Anyways, I'm a Patreon for the Sleepycast because I want them to create stuff.
Okay.
And so I feel like they earned, like, my money. And that's the least I can do.
Right.
And Rice Pirate recently sent out a letter and he's like, hey, I'm going to I'm actually flying out to LA, and I can't really focus on whatever I'm doing at the moment. But when I get back, it will be fine. And I just emailed him, just sort of on a whim, and I'm like, hey, if you're in LA, I would love to, like, pick your brain and, like, buy you a beer. And he's like, oh, yeah, but, like, I honestly can't right now, but, like, next time I'm in LA, beer's on me, and thank you for being a patron. How is this dude so casually cool with some stranger writing him and just being like, hey, we should get some beer.
We should get a beer sometime. Let me touch your penis.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I said.
You should do that once you meet him. I feel, Mick Lauer seems like a very nice guy as well. But he's also, I think the reason he's so cool about that is he is significantly older than the rest of the Sleepy Cabin people. I'm pretty sure.
I don't want to say significantly older. Like, he's just as old as Johnny Utah.
Really?
And Stamper. Yeah.
He always makes it out to seem in his things that he started off, used to be a graphic designer or something like that, and then he got into the voice acting business really late in the game compared to other people, and now he's, I don't know how old he is, 38, 39, almost 40?
No, I want to say he's 35, but I'm not sure.
Maybe I'm just talking, I'm probably talking my ass. Let's just, okay. Then never mind. I mean, he just seems like a cool guy anyways. Regardless.
Yeah, he's very in touch with the fans, which is very rare. Like, all of the people that have, like, questions for the subreddit or questions about the podcast, he usually addresses them, and he's like, yeah, this is what's going on, guys. And
right. I think what that stems from is that considering his few years older than the rest of them, he's had more time to kind of understand what it takes to run a business in a sense and try to sustain a network of your fans. And so I think he understands that if you are in touch with your fandom and the people that are going to be watching your videos in the future, then you kind of reward yourself like that. So I don't know.
On the flip side of that, it's weird. I don't want to talk about web celebrities for this whole thing, but it's an interesting topic. I believe he started it like in 2010 or 2009, something like not too long ago. I'm like, oh, he's new to the internet, even though it's like 7 or 6 years later. I'm like, oh, he's new to the internet. He doesn't really know how to handle this, but like you said, he's sort of handling the business,
right? And
he's also handling the internet thing fairly well.
Right.
I don't want to say better than everyone else, but he's definitely at the forefront.
Yeah. And in those kind of respects, especially with something like Patreon, where you're expected to produce content, if people are going to be paying you once a month, you should be expected to produce content since people are paying for it. And I think he understands that. For example, if you went into a restaurant and you ordered drinks and the waitress was really full up with other tables and that kind of thing, so she was the only waitress on staff, you would be a lot more lenient with her and understanding if she came by and just said, hey, if she was honest with you and said, hey, listen, I'm kind of rushed right now, but your drinks are coming out, they will be out eventually, rather than just kind of ignoring you. And that's the same thing he did with telling himself about he's going out to LA, he's having trouble working, so.
Yeah, it's transparency, man. Just be honest with people, but not too transparent with people. Of course, there's a line.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was actually thinking about, on another topic, I was thinking about doing a Patreon for Gauge Your Interests once I get these last 2 episodes out.
Nice, you should.
Then I want to full on, like, I want to go, I want to, like, fully produce it. I want to have, like, I don't want to say more credible guests, but guests with a little more pool, I think I should say.
Right. More credible guests is a perfectly acceptable thing to say. I mean, the people that you had in the past from the Eggplant at FSU, those cater solely to sort of FSU audience.
Right.
So,
and by the way, Houston and Aubrey, you guys were great, and thank you for coming on. It was weird because I edited that down by it was like first draft was like half an hour. And I think I got it down to 10 minutes.
Gauge Your Interest, by the way, is a web show that Gage hosts where he and other people review movies and things of that kind of variety.
Sorry, audience.
It's okay. I assume that people...
I feel like I'm just talking to John Claude at the moment.
Yeah. And also, if anyone is listening to this, our kind of primary audience would probably be friends and things like that at the moment. So they would know what Gauge Your Interest is.
Yeah, Gauge Your Interest is a show, and I would like to, full on produce it for quote unquote a season 2. I'm working on, well, I shouldn't say I'm working. I'm not working on the van one at the moment. I actually wanted to talk to you about that because I was thinking about doing a sequelitis kind of thing because one of the shots are missing and I want to animate, the other one.
Okay. How long of a scene were you thinking of?
I'm thinking it's going to be like just as long. I'm actually missing that entire angle for the entire short.
Oh, dang.
So it might be like I don't want to say a 10-minute animation, but let's just say a third of that. So like
3 minutes.
three and a half minutes around there of like sequelitis-like animation just for that background.
Interesting.
I would like you to do that, but at the same time, I would like to pay you.
Okay.
Because, you know, I like to reward you for you.
Oh, thank you. Considering you're thinking about doing the Patreon thing, I don't know whether when you intend on starting that. Probably after you finish these 2 episodes, you said.
I'm thinking actually a little bit into season 2 when I establish sort of like my new set and what people want to expect.
Right.
Because the first 4 gauge your interest. They're not bad, but like I think the writing could be sharper. I think the guest could be a little more credible. And once again, not saying anything bad about my previous guest. I would just like to reach a wider audience.
Yeah, I think what could benefit that would be consistency. I know your first one had to do with the spice world, right? And so you were kind of traveling around. And then the second one, you and your guests were around a television talking about Cody Banks.
Well, no, actually.
No, is that entirely wrong?
Yeah. Way to spoil it, by the way. Spoilers.
Oh,
I
sorry.
didn't release the Spice World one yet.
Oh, that's right. Oh, that's right. Cut that.
No, like, that's fine. If people are curious, the 2 that are released right now, the Birdemic one and the Agent Cody Banks one.
That's right. You did one on Birdemic. That's right.
Yeah, we're just sitting around. It's weird, because I released that, like, a year ago. And the Birdemic, it's me and my buddy Aaron Overton sitting around the television, just making comments. And same with the Agent Cody Banks, just with different guests. I'm doing one more with my buddy Van on the Super Mario one, and that might be animated if I get the money. I want to pay for that, of course. I was thinking about paying a couple animators, but that might get, just from a price range, that might not work.
Right.
But
I mean, depending...
And I don't want to short anyone and be like, oh, he gets 200 for doing stuff, but you only get 50.
Well, that's something that you can definitely talk to me about in terms of, because there is a division of work and payment that can be established in the sense of, so there's to animation, there's key drawings that kind of tell the story like a comic book panel, and then there are people that are paid that are in-betweeners and they just kind of fill in the stuff in between that. It's more complicated than that, but that's the rudimentary form of it. So
sorry about all this business talk, audience, by the way. I'm sorry.
I mean, hey,
I don't mean to be throwing out numbers and such. Anyways, yeah, we'll definitely work something out. And like I said, it's going to be a sequelitis thing, so it's not going to be like the Starbomb thing. By the way, watch Starbomb, the live-action medley.
Yes.
John Claude did the animations for the Pokemon and the End Slate, which I think are fantastic.
Oh my god.
And I acted in it. And I co-directed it with my friend Alex Keel, and I did some production design, and I think...
It turned out really, really good.
Oh, thanks, man.
Of course.
Yeah, so watch that if you haven't.
I actually checked it out. Was it yesterday? I think it was yesterday or the day before. I looked at the video, and it actually seems like it's picking up a little bit of momentum, considering that it took a little while for it to hit 1,000 views, and now it's up another 250, 300, something like that within the span of...
awesome.
Yeah, so it's definitely, I think, getting some momentum. So...
At the time of recording this, it's been out for like 6 months or something.
Yeah.
I don't think I monetized it or anything because like, it's sort of a gray area whether to monetize it or not because I don't feel right. It's other people's song, so I'm not gonna do it. I did ask for their permission and they said yes.
Right. No, I completely understand that feeling of kind of monetizing.
It wasn't like $1 million to make or a big budget or anything. So I'm not going to lose sleep over that. But anyways, sorry. Off track once again. I just wanted to say that after partially animated special.
Oh yeah.
Sorry, John Claude, I'm putting a lot of pressure on you.
Oh, you're good, man. I'm happy to help in any way I can.
And I did a special where I did a movie in London, Spice World. Yeah, right. That's done. I might do like a couple edits here and there just to update it a little bit, but that's like completely done. So it won't take much to like release that after this other special.
Ooh, well, I'm excited to see it in actual YouTube glory.
Yeah, and I'll make a few changes, and I'm going to take a little break to produce season 2. All I'll say is I might do it with Iron Zoo, I might not. I don't want to talk too much about Iron Zoo, just because like we're sort of in a gray area at the moment, but it might be something I do by myself or with another network. But that's it.
Gotcha.
Sorry, what were you saying before I went on a special rant?
No. That's totally fine. I'm trying to think of some transitional things that we could start discussing. I mean, we started going off on a tangent on internet celebrity and then producing our own content.
We've for about 45 minutes we touched almost on none of our topics.
Right. So let's try and squeeze in another here. I think we could probably let's see if we can squeeze in another one of our topics and then talk about that for another 15 minutes, and then I think we could
yeah, sure. So this is a new podcast and a lot of people are curious what our intentions are.
Right.
So, John Claude, I'm curious to what you hope to accomplish doing this podcast with me.
So, given where I am at the moment, I think I'm in sort of the same spot that you are in a sense. We're both coming out of our undergraduate studies and that kind of thing.
Right.
And we're both searching in a sense for what we're doing in terms of career. I mean, personally, I'm going to try and go into med school, but who knows where that might lead. And you are trying to become a film superstar. So I think my ultimate goal for this is to kind of give our audience a little bit of a reflection. And I think we could probably bring in other guests who have either kind of succeeded following undergraduate. For example, Carlos, who's already working someplace like Telemundo and that kind of thing.
I wouldn't say Carlos succeeded. Calm down.
Okay.
Calm down.
Carlos, he's got a steady job, is what I mean.
Yes, Carlos does have a steady job. And for our audience, Carlos is, he was my friend and he was
my roommate.
John Claude's former roommate. We don't talk to him anymore. We completely disregard him. We disowned him.
That's true, yeah.
No, I actually talk to him like weekly, actually.
Yeah.
So,
I probably talk to him on a bi-weekly basis. I don't even know. And it's like the few texts that we get out between each other. I don't know. It's our relationship. It's pretty weird. So I think ultimately my goal for this podcast is to, like I said, kind of get a reflection on people our age and their perspective on a bunch of different topics. But I think mainly how we are trying to guide our lives towards something that's kind of substantial and towards a career. So we were discussing the work that you were doing on the internet. We didn't really touch much on my goals, but we talked about animation. So that's something, in terms of life anyways, not the podcast. So that's a very obscure, intangible goal for my podcast. How about you?
Yeah, it's also like, it's sort of an interesting, I see your perspective. It's almost like, I don't want to say that you're trying to make this something else, but it's almost like a document of our coming of age story.
Yeah, a little bit.
And I think that would be something awesome to reflect on in a year or two.
Mm-hmm.
And like even 5 or 10 years from now, I think it would be great.
Just kind of like an audio log in terms of, who knows, a year down the road we could be discussing things completely different than we are today, and things that are more, I don't even know what to describe. We don't know.
Yeah, we'll be talking about like hors d'oeuvres in
I know.
in a year.
I just had the greatest caviar along with some champagne with my new 6-figure job.
And I'd be like, I'm still making Sonic trailers.
Sonic.
By the way, I made a Sonic Honest trailer. I wrote it for Smosh Games, and they did a little rewrite, and now it's on Smosh Games, the channel.
Yeah, go check it out. SmoshGames.com/Gage Agnew.
/Gage Agnew. Sorry, I keep plugging my stuff.
That's okay. Plug away. If I had things to plug, if I had a YouTube channel that had anything substantial on it, I would plug away. But we already got out my little the thing I did with the medley, the Game Grumps thing. Oh, it's
Yeah,
Star Bomb.
the Star Bomb
Yeah.
thing. Yeah, you did an excellent job, and I really hope I could work more with you in the future.
Yeah.
Which brings me to my goal for the podcast.
Ooh.
My goal for the podcast is actually, I'm going to get a little personal here, but whatever.
Shoot away.
In high school, I had like a group of friends, and we're like, oh yeah, we're going to text each other and stuff, and it just never happened. That's kind of what happens in life. Kind of people fade away and glide away. But I had a really good relationship with John Claude in college, and I felt like I really connected with him. And these past 6 months, we just haven't been talking because John Claude's been busy. I've been looking for a job. And I think this podcast is an excellent way to keep in touch with each other, maintain our friendship, and kind of grow together as people. And that's what I want. And yeah, and to talk about stupid stuff. And we just happen to be recording it, in my opinion.
That's totally respectable. Oh man, you touched my heart, man. And
shucks.
And that's something that's happened with a lot of my friends that from undergrad and that kind of thing. That just you drift apart, and you're both kind of looking into different things, and you both have your own business to take care of from day to day, and things just get pushed to the wayside, unfortunately, especially when, I don't know the distance from Florida to California, but a continent across.
It's about 2,000 miles.
Oh, yeah. So there you go. 2,000 miles apart. It's hard to keep things in the loop. So I completely understand. And that couples very well with my goal as well, in terms of keeping a log of who we are as people and as friends and that kind of thing. So, yeah.
Right. And yeah, I try to, I do it with a select few people, and if people are listening to this that I haven't talked to in a while, please talk to me. Please talk to me. No, I'm just saying that, I like talking to you. Like I've said, I know you got your stuff, I got my stuff. But I love talking to people, and I love keeping up with people, and I'm a 99% chance that I will absolutely talk to you and catch up a little bit. But yeah, I try to keep up with people, like Thomas and Carlos. We're somewhat working together, and that helps us sort of interact more. I'm working on a pilot with Thomas, and I'm working, I was working on some squeaky whale stuff with, Carlos. I don't know where he's going with that. But
actually, so you worked with them recently on Squeaky Whale, yeah?
No, not really. I just had a conversation with them about sort of their goals.
Oh, gotcha.
And sort of, I don't want to shit on Squeaky Whale. I think we just have different goals.
Yeah, we discussed that a little bit, but in the past.
Yeah, they want to educate. I want to entertain a little bit more. Mm-hmm. That's sort of what's up with them.
Which isn't necessarily something that needs to be differentiated. I think there's a way, I don't know, I can't put it into words right now, but there is a way to couple the two.
Yeah, edutainment.
Yeah, so I think if you both had the time, which is a very precious resource at the moment, you could find a way, but if you both have different routes at the moment, it may be easier to just let someone do their thing, you do the other thing. Actually,
I just texted Carlos before this, and I'm like, hey, you should be on the podcast with me and John Claude. Depending on how well this goes. Mm-hmm. I mean, I think it's going all right so far, but...
Well, we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
We'll see, Gage. There's still 5 minutes left. Come on. We're just playing it by ear at this point, and we just thought it would be a fun thing, and those other reasons that we said before.
Right. I mean, I also, considering our range of topics is very vast, I think that it would be very cool to see if we could get any... Since you are in contact with people like Rice Pirate and things like that, I wouldn't think that it would be too far-fetched. Maybe he would come for an interview. We can just talk to him and pick his brain, like you said, for probably not an hour. That's a lot of his time. But, I don't know, get him in Skype for 10 minutes, then see where it goes.
We could. I'm not buddy-buddy with him, but it's worth asking.
Yeah, but considering that you said that he responds to emails, I think that that's more of an open door than, say, Ego Raptor or something like that. But let's not get into Ego Raptor or anything like that. So,
yeah. Actually, speaking of game drums, I saw Ninja Brian just last night.
Really?
Yeah. He was doing, Baby Wants Candy. That's the That's a group of people who do improvised musicals.
Oh, wow.
And he played piano for them, and he was fantastic. And I think I don't want to say the music's half of it, because it's more of like 3/4 of it, at least. And he did an awesome job with the band.
Oh, entirely. I mean, the music for, especially something like musical improv, it's going to build the foundation for anything that they could do.
And they had a hard topic, too. Their topic was Porkleton.
Oh, wow. That's really, really rough. I've been doing an improv class for the past couple months now.
No way.
Yeah, on Tuesday nights, in a different episode, we'll discuss what my schedule has become as of late. But in the evenings, I go to this improv class, and we have done musical theater improv, a little bit here and there, and it's rough. We don't have anybody to play music behind us, so it's all a cappella. To get something very cohesive and to have a full-fledged story from beginning to end, which is something that you kind of want to try to do when you're doing an improv, is extremely hard when you're incorporating music as well.
What was I gonna say?
Ninja Brian.
Oh, no, that was the end of that.
Oh, okay.
I just wanted to say I was talking about thinking some improv classes, but right now I'm taking a TV writing class.
Ooh.
Which is starting tomorrow.
That's awesome.
As of this recording.
Hey, good luck.
I'm very excited. Yeah, thanks, man. But I want to do an improv thing after or towards the end of that. So, yeah, that's what I want to do.
I think that is a very good idea, considering what you're trying to do and accomplish with Gage your interest and things like that. I think you can only stand to better yourself. So.
Yeah, gauge your interest. It's an idea that really fascinates me. I think nobody's really done it before, sort of that hybrid of interview and mystery science theater. I think it's something really special that I can do. Actually, I think the closest thing to it that we have right now is H3H3 Productions, which does like viral video reactions. And they are fantastic at it. I was like, oh, maybe people will think I'm copying them if I do it. But
oh man, you can't think that way. And I know there are going to be some people that claim that you are, but like you said, like we started this video, we're gonna come full circle here. There are no original ideas.
No, of course not.
As long you yourself with your personality are going to bring something completely original to the table. When you do this, you're never going to do something exactly the same way. Maybe you can find ways to improve upon it. And maybe not. Maybe you can use them as a base to learn from. But I think it's an admirable feat.
Of course, I can be inspired by them. I don't want to straight up copy them, but I don't think that's going to be a problem because it's not like I'm a Carlos Mencia just stealing jokes left and right.
Yeah, man, fish sticks was my idea, man.
Yeah. I went down that rabbit hole last summer of how Carlos Mencia steals jokes from other comedians, and it's bad. Ugh.
Oh well, I expect that we're going to be stealing a lot of jokes from other internet celebrities on the show.
We're going to be referencing shit like left and right.
Yeah.
But like more than once we'll say, hey, that's from Rice Pirate or JonTron or whatever.
Yeah, we'll call each other out on stuff. And when we do have original material, we'll play a funky sound.
We'll copyright it.
Yeah, okay. We'll send out a patent. I don't even know if that's how it works. I don't know how to copyright things.
That is exactly how it works.
Okay, good. So tell me you had an idea of discussing your favorite piece of art, and I think that would be a cool thing to discuss before we close.
Yeah.
Did you have something in mind?
Just like TV, movies, video games. I think, I don't want to say this because I haven't played it in a while, but my favorite video game is Beautiful Joe.
Really? See, I always admired the aesthetic of that game, but I never got a chance to play it because I never owned a GameCube as a kid.
Oh man, when I come down there, which will be sometime, or if you come up here, we'll play Beautiful Joe like all the way through because it's a relatively short game, but it has great ideas. It has like slow motion and fast and sped up motion, and like you can do zoom in.
Yeah.
And it's all based on what's it? Movies.
Yeah.
And like primarily old Japanese monsters.
Yes, that's what I was just about to say, because it's got that kind of grainy filter over things, and you've got the film strip going on, right? I haven't played it, but I've seen the previews for it. How do I even remember that? I remember the television ads for the game back when it first came out, and it was all film strip looking stuff like that. Maybe I'm...
Yeah, it has a wonderful aesthetic to it.
Yeah.
And
Aesthetic. I heard the way you put emphasis on that. That was beautiful.
What's your favorite video game, John?
So, a favorite video game of all time. This is always something that's in flux. I will say all time, it probably comes down to Super Mario World on the Super Nintendo. I have a lot of nostalgia for that game, and I think it's just very well done. As of late, though, and I think what really pertains to something that's a good piece of art, and I know everyone's jumping on this bandwagon at the moment, but I think that it's definitely something that needs to be reiterated over and over and over. Have you played the game Undertale?
Yes, I have.
I think that game is... If there was an argument that video games can be art, that would definitely fall somewhere in that.
It's a fun game, and like the dialogue is cool, and you actually care about the characters.
Right.
And but I actually was going to write the Honest Game trailer for Undertale.
Were you?
After Sonic.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I wrote a draft of it and everything.
That's amazing.
And they're like, we're going a different direction, which I understand. But I can send you that draft if you're curious.
Yeah, you should. You should definitely.
And you can compare and contrast the actual trailer if you want.
Right. Oh, did they already release the actual trailer?
Yeah, they released it actually just right after the Sonic one.
Oh, okay. Well, I have to go check it out after you send me your script, anyways. But just one last thing on the game. I think what it does really, really well that modern games, even AAA games, kind of fail to do, I think correctly, is a morality system. Kind of things in like Fallout, you can kill someone or something like that and it just says like, you're bad because of this. But Undertale does morality in a way where it's not a bar on the screen and it's not something that you can see happening, but you still feel. Right.
And at the end of the game, spoilers.
Oh man, you shouldn't do spoilers, but you can if you want.
Oh, well, okay. Never mind.
I mean, I wanted to point out Undertale as a piece of art, but it's also one of those games that you just should experience without knowing much about it. But anyways.
Okay, then we'll keep it vague.
Okay.
Yeah, and if you played it, watch it on this trailer, I guess.
Yeah. Even though they screwed Gage over.
They screwed me over, but I still love them. I love you, Smosh Games. Please call me back.
Oh, man.
I call you late at night.
Another piece of artwork that I think should be plugged here. There is, I don't know if you've ever seen this. Have you ever seen a video on YouTube called Crayon Dragon?
No, I haven't.
So
please describe
there's this animator, an independent animator, and his name is Tonico Pend. I should look up his actual name.
Pendleton
Ward, the creator of Adventure Time. So, no, just look up Crayon Dragon, everyone, on YouTube. It's a beautiful, beautiful animation created by one guy. And the premise is this artist has to go and paint over a mural. She's commissioned to paint over a mural that is, I think it was drawn in with kids with chalk or something like that. Or maybe not. I don't really know what the backstory is. But she goes to start painting it over, and she kind of gets sucked into the world that was painted there. And it's a little bit Chalk Zone-y, if you remember that show.
I was going to say Harold and the Purple Crayon.
I never seen that, actually.
I think it's a book. It was turned into a cartoon, I believe. But, yeah, it's, once again, goes back to, like, nothing is original. But, like, actually, interesting thing on that topic. Whenever someone tells their idea to me, which happens in LA, I always try to think of something similar to it and go, oh, it's sort of like this thing. And I get two reactions. One is, damn it!
Okay.
And the other one is like, no, but it's also, and if someone can like differentiate it enough, then I'm like, alright, you got something.
Yeah. I think that has to do with, since you're working in film and television and stuff like that, people have built up a repertoire of other films that they can kind of compare and contrast newer movies or ideas that they're working on. And that's a perfectly acceptable way to critique other people's work. And
it's sort of a dick way, but
not necessarily. Not if you do it in the right way. You can say, wow, because if someone is drawing, or if their work is, if it's similar to another piece of work that is popular enough that you know about it, then that means that they, are onto something there. Maybe they need to critique it. Everything always needs to be critiqued more. I'm sure if they're just coming up with an idea to you and they don't have papers in front of them with like the critiques and they've gone through a bunch of drafts, then they still need to work on it more. But you can say, this reminds me of this, and that's good because that means that there's going to be an audience for it. But like you said, maybe they say, crap, I wanted something original, but there's no original ideas.
Why is there no original ideas in Hollywood nowadays? Why is everyone making us stupid?
Find out this week on... That's the name of our podcast. Thank you.